Hi guys. So yes, I know it's been a minute since I've done this. It's been crazy. I'm sure it's been hectic for everybody, and I'm just not finding the time to do as many reviews as I want to do. I remember I used to do this every week, and now it's like, oh, it's insane. I'm shooting this right now. Actually, it's Gloria Saturday or Easter Saturday, if you want to call it that. So I had to get this one in the bag after seeing the latest episode of Batchackman. But before I begin, guys, something a little bit more serious, off topic. But I really wanna send up cheers to a friend of mine, a very good friend. I've known him since we were little kids running around, who sadly passed away a couple days ago. Tragically, we lost him to the violence of this world. But we will not remember him like that. We're going to remember him as the man that he was and will always be. I'm talking about my friend Junior. Junior Rivers was his name. And he was the type of person who always had a smile on his face, always had a joke to tell, and he just brought joy wherever he went. I know people say that about everybody, when they've lost someone, but he really was a guy that you could not help but smile at when you saw him. And he was always late to the movies. I remember that growing up, we would go, all of us. I was the only girl, a bunch of boys, and Junior was one of them. And we would go to the cinema, and Junior would always be the reason that we were late. It just to drive us crazy. He always had to take extra special care getting ready, and looking good. But yeah, we sadly lost him. So I just want to say that, Junior, we love you, and to his family, my deepest condolences. And we will always carry you with us in our hearts and in our memories. So you will be ever eternal. That said, guys, let's talk about Batchackman. This is going to be, I believe, episode 4, part 1. Crapaud Smoke Yuh Pipe. And for those who don't know what the hell we're talking about here in Trinidad, Crapaud, I believe it's a French word, or French Creole maybe. It's a French word for toad. And the saying basically kind of means that, you're screwed. And this is what's happening essentially. We get a lot more story here, a lot more of why people are doing what they're doing. We see movements, we see people like Amina making moves to take over her mother's business. We're seeing, is it Maharaj, the dude with the shades who's always smiling. We see he is tired of working for her mother, and he also wants to put an end to her and her souped up soldier girls. And then we have, of course, we see Batchackman's girlfriend, who I did not realize has a background in science. I don't know why I didn't pick that up. I just kept thinking of her in my mind as some sort of reporter type person. But anyways, we see where she, spoiler alert, takes this serum and injects herself with it. I think it's this serum that is supposed to be similar to what the girls have taken. So we don't know if she's going to get superpowers. More than likely, who knows, maybe it might drive her a little crazy. We might have a villain on our hands. We're waiting to see. So there was a lot to unpack here and a lot unfolded. But strangely enough, there wasn't a lot of action. Now, not every episode requires action. But we are talking superhero, and you get kind of spoiled. There are certain beats to these types of shows. We get story, we get narrative of what's happening, and then we get some type of cool action sequence that takes place. And considering there's a showdown between the very cool Blood Poison, the villainous Blood Poison, and we actually hear him speak here. And I love the fact, guys, that he speaks very heavy Trini dialect. There's actually subtitles to what he's saying. And I dig that because I want to see more of that in this show. It is a Trinidadian based show. I want to see more people, repping for the different parts of Trinidad. People speak differently. It's not all one way. And we all have our own slangs that if depending on the area you're from, people speak different kinds of slang, different dialects, that sort of thing. It's all in English, but it's dialect nevertheless, and we get to see that from Blood Poison, and I really like that. And there was a showdown of sorts between him and Amina, where she foolishly, honestly, I saw it coming from a mile away. Why would you shake this guy's hand? And his name is Blood Poison, and we know his backstory. We know, poison is not just something he dabbles in. So why would you touch him? But anyways, she's infected, and they have a bit of a showdown. And later on we see where she may have won, but we never saw the showdown. And it was such an opportune moment for an action sequence. It could have worked really well right there, especially considering these are two people that are supposed to be at the top of their game, physically. So I was disappointed. That we didn't get to see that. And I mean, it would be cool that if not every action sequence has to involve main characters like the Batchackman. So it would have been cool to see something like that with the villains, so to speak. But I guess they were going for more of a narrative here. And like I said, we got a lot more of people's motivations and what's happening. We also got to see, I think the guy's name was Slade, the guy who rescued, the bodyguard type guy who rescued Batchackman in the forest. We saw him, and he's working with this girl, a cop. So she hired him. So kind of figure out what's happening and where all the pieces fit, why these people going after the Batchackman and that sort of thing. Here's the thing, there is such a thing as too much, and I feel like we got maybe too much dialogue this time around. Like I kept telling you guys that if you look at my previous reviews, I'm all about show don't tell. So I really enjoy the show more when there's less. Now, I understand they're trying to unpack a lot of information for us, but there were points where people were discussing things that were happening. There's a scene with a woman talking to Amina about what she needs to do to take the company from her mother. And sadly, it sounds too much like somebody reading off a script or reading directly off of like a Wikipedia page or something, explaining the difference between stocks and how which percentage, which majority. It goes on like that. It was a bit too much in that respect. So you have actors here, you have young actors who are learning their craft, and therefore they're going to struggle to deliver those lines with the emotional impact that might be needed, or to maybe break it up and not just recite the lines verbatim, break it up to be more natural to them and who they are and how they speak. So there wasn't a lot of conjunctions. There's just a lot of I do not think you should do this, instead of I don't think you should do that kind of thing, just to give it a more natural speaking rhythm. So that's it, guys. This episode for me, it wasn't my favorite. There's a lot of build up, and I did like the whole fear toxin thing that Blood Poison did. It was kind of like what Scarecrow does to Batman, that whole fear toxin thing. That was kind of cool. And I do love the folklore stuff here, guys. I'm a huge fan of our local folklore. I think there's so much to tap into, and Batchackman tapping into that has me super excited. We get to see Sukunya, and there's vampires introduced in this, our local vampires, and they even show the folklore where you need to, you throw the rice and they're forced to stop and count the grains. I dig that stuff. And the vampire attack, I thought the blood effects looked good, and the sound effects, the squelching effects, the slurping was a little. I did laugh a bit because it was sounding like, you know, you're gulping down water, but it still kind of grossed me out, which is great because it's a vampire, you know. So I dig that stuff. I really do. And I think the idea of meshing the world of folklore into the world of superheroes is always awesome. I mean, I'm a huge Justice League Dark fan. I eat those comics when they come out. So I love that sort of stuff. And when that, you know, I want to see more of that. I want to see them build on that. And I know they're going to. So I'm still super excited for what's to come. I just hope they, you know, pull back a bit on the dialogue. You can do these things. You can have somebody show us Amina maybe taking over the company, like walking into the boardroom and is like, you know, hey, I'm the captain now. But, you know, we don't need to see a whole preamble to that too much. You know what I mean? So this episode for me, guys, I think it fell in the middle for me. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I'm looking forward to see part 2 and where they go, and I'm sure they're going to deliver a lot more action for us, you know, as things start to wrap up to that epic conclusion. So if you haven't caught up as yet, you know, you definitely should, as we will be jumping into that, I'm sure, very soon. And we'll see what else the Batchackman has under his sleeves. Well, he wears a vest. He wears, so, you know, he doesn't have sleeves, but you know what I mean. We'll see what he has waiting in store for us. And that's gonna be it for this one, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up button. It's always appreciated. If you're new here and you'd like to subscribe to my channels, thank you. And I'm hoping to pick up on the reviews, guys. I'm gonna be doing more stuff over on Instagram, some live stuff with some fellow reviewers that I'm excited about. So again, I'm not sure how much content I'm going to be putting out here on a weekly basis, but I promise you I will still be putting out content, so you can look out for that. And that's about it. So until the next one, guys, have a great Easter, and bye bye.